A Camera Part 1. The fine Marcus found the camera at a flea market, buried under boxes of old records. A vintage Polaroid from the 1970s, leather case intact, surprisingly clean. The vendor, an elderly man with milky eyes, barely looked up. "How much?" Marcus asked. "Take it. Free." "Seriously?" The old man's expression darkened. "I don't want money for that thing. Just take it and go." Marcus was a photography student, obsessed with analog. A free vintage Polaroid was a gift. He took it. "Word of advice," the vendor called as Marcus walked away. "Don't photograph people you care about." Marcus laughed it off. At home, he loaded film he'd bought online and tested it. He photographed his apartment click. Whir, the photo sliding out. He waved it in the air, watching the image develop. Normal, just his living room. The next day, he took it to campus, photographing architecture, trees, random objects. Everything developed normally. Beautiful. Actually, the colors had a richness digital couldn't match. Then he photographed his classmate, Sarah. She was sitting on a bench, reading. Marcus framed the shot click. Whir. The photo emerged. He waved it, watching it develop. What appeared made his blood run cold. Sarah, in the same position, same bench. But her face was gray, eyes closed, head tilted at an unnatural angle. Blood ran from her nose and ears. Behind her, the sky was dark night, not the bright afternoon it currently was. "You okay?" Sarah asked, noticing his expression. "Let me see." Marcus stuffed the photo in his pocket. It didn't develop right. Camera malfunction. That night, Marcus examined the photo under his desk lamp. It was impossibly detailed. Sarah, dead, on that same bench. A timestamp on a visible clock in the background read 11:47 p.m. He checked the time. 8:30 p.m. Marcus grabbed his keys and ran. Part 2. The first save Marcus reached campus at 9:15 p.m. The bench where he'd photographed Sarah sat empty in the quad. He parked nearby and waited. This was insane. The photo was a glitch, a double exposure, his imagination. But he waited. At 10:30 p.m., a figure approached the bench. Sarah, wearing the same clothes from the photo. She sat down, pulled out her phone. Marcus got out of his car. "Sarah," she jumped. "Marcus, what are you doing here?" I was just leaving the library, heading home." "You?" "Waiting for my roommate." Her car broke down. She checked her phone. She should be here by midnight. Marcus glanced at the bench. In the photo, she'd been alone at 11:47 p.m. "Want to wait in the student center?" "It's warmer. I'm fine here. Please." "I'll buy you coffee." Something in his tone made her hesitate. "Okay, sure." They walked to the 24-hour student center. Marcus kept her talking, kept her away from that bench. At 11:50 p.m., her roommate texted she'd arrived at the original pickup spot. "I should go," Sarah said. "I'll walk you." They crossed the quad. The bench sat empty. No body, no blood. Sarah's roommate pulled up. "Thanks for the coffee," Sarah said, getting in the car. Marcus watched them drive away. He pulled out the photo. It was blank, completely white, as if it had never developed at all. Part 3. The pattern. Over the next week, Marcus tested the camera obsessively. He photographed strangers, friends, professors. Most photos developed normally, but 3 more showed death. A jogger hit by a car. A student fallen from a building. A barista face down in what looked like a pool of water. Each time, Marcus intervened. He warned the jogger about the intersection. He reported a safety concern about the building's roof access. He convinced the barista to skip her swimming pool maintenance shift. Each time, the photos turned blank afterward. Marcus felt powerful, heroic. He was cheating death, saving lives with a magical camera. Then he photographed his roommate, Jake. The photo showed Jake in their apartment, slumped in his gaming chair. Eyes open but vacant. Foam at his mouth. Pills scattered on the desk. The timestamp. 2 days from now, 3:17 a.m. Marcus confronted Jake that evening. "Are you okay? Like, really okay?" Jake shrugged. "Why? You seem stressed lately." "I'm fine, man. Just tired." But his eyes told a different story. Marcus stayed up those next 2 nights, watching Jake. On the second night, at 2:45 a.m., he heard Jake's door open. Footsteps to the bathroom. Cabinet opening. Marcus knocked. "Jake, go back to sleep." "What are you doing?" Silence. Then, nothing. "Just can't sleep." "Let me in." "Marcus, I'm fine." Marcus tried the door. Locked. "Jake, please." The lock clicked. Jake stood there, bottle of pills in his hand. Prescription sleeping medication. His eyes were red from crying. "I can't do this anymore," Jake whispered. "The pressure, the expectations, all of it. I'm failing everything. I'm drowning." Marcus took the pills gently. "You're not doing this. Not tonight. Not ever. We're going to get you help." They talked until sunrise. Marcus called the campus crisis hotline, made an appointment with counseling services, stayed with Jake every moment. At 3:17 a.m., Jake was safe, talking, alive. Marcus checked the photo later. Blank. He'd saved his best friend's life. Part 4. The cost. A week later, Marcus photographed a crowd at a campus event. When the photo developed, he saw something that made his stomach drop. 20 people, all dead, sprawled across the ground, blood pooling, expressions of terror frozen on their faces. The timestamp, tomorrow, 2 p.m. The location, the student union. Marcus showed security the photo. They thought he was crazy. He called in a bomb threat anonymously. They evacuated, found nothing, reopened within hours. He tried everything. Nothing worked. The next day at 1:45 p.m., Marcus stood outside the student union, watching hundreds of students inside. He'd failed. He couldn't stop this. Then he heard it. A car, engine roaring, tires squealing. A van jumped the curb, heading straight for the building's glass entrance where students clustered. Marcus ran, screaming. People scattered. The van crashed through the doors into an empty lobby. The driver, a student who'd snapped, was arrested. 0 casualties. Marcus checked his photo. Blank. He'd done it. He'd saved them. But that night, Sarah called. "Have you seen the news?" "No, why?" "That jogger you warned last week? The one you said had a bad feeling about the intersection?" Marcus's throat tightened. "What about her?" "She died today. Different intersection. Hit and run." Marcus hung up and researched frantically. The student who'd almost fallen from the building? Dead. Elevator accident. The barista who'd skipped pool maintenance? Drowned in her bathtub. Every person he'd saved had died anyway. Different times. Different methods. Same result. Death doesn't like being cheated. Part 5. The truth. Marcus returned to the flea market. The elderly vendor sat in the same spot. "You came back," the old man said, not surprised. "What is this camera?" "It shows the truth. Death's appointment book. Everyone has a time, a place, a method. I've been saving people? No, you've been delaying them. Death always collects. You just change the when and how. Sometimes you make it worse." Marcus thought of the jogger's family, grieving twice relief when she survived the first near miss, devastation when she died weeks later. Why give this to people? I didn't choose you. The camera did. It finds people who think they can control death. Photographers who want to freeze moments, stop time, prevent endings. The old man's milky eyes fixed on Marcus. You can't photograph death without becoming part of its work. I'm done. I'm destroying it. You can try. Marcus took the camera home, smashed it with a hammer. The plastic cracked but didn't break. He threw it in a fire. It wouldn't burn. He buried it. It appeared on his doorstep the next morning. The camera wouldn't let go. 1 week later, Marcus photographed himself in a mirror. Just to see. The photo developed. He saw himself, gray-faced, eyes vacant, slumped in his apartment. The timestamp. Tonight, 11:30 p.m. But there was something else in the photo. Behind him, a shadow. Human-shaped, but wrong. The thing that follows the camera. The thing that collects what death is owed. Marcus understood now. Every person he'd saved had died anyway. But their deaths had been changed, rescheduled, rerouted. And every change created a debt. Death was coming to collect. From him. Part 6. Midnight. Marcus spent his final hours writing letters. To Jake, telling him to keep living. To Sarah, apologizing for being weird that night. To his parents, saying he loved them. At 11 p.m., he sat in his apartment, camera on the desk. The photo of his own death propped against it. At 11:15 p.m., the shadow appeared. It looked like a person made of smoke and darkness, features shifting, never quite solid. It didn't speak. It didn't need to. Marcus knew what it wanted. "How many?" Marcus asked. "How many deaths have I changed?" The shadow held up fingers. 7. "And you want them all back? Plus interest." The shadow nodded. "What if I refuse?" The shadow picked up the camera and showed Marcus the viewfinder. In it, he saw Jake, Sarah, his parents, everyone he loved. All dead, all gray-faced, all time-stamped for tomorrow. You'll kill them to get to me? The shadow nodded again. Marcus closed his eyes. What if I make a deal? Me for them. I pay the debt. All of it. The shadow tilted its head, considering. You let everyone live. Natural lifespans. No more changed deaths. And you take me now, instead of at 11:30. The shadow extended a hand. Marcus took it. Epilogue: they found Marcus's body the next morning. Heart attack, the coroner said. Tragic. He was only 22. On his desk, they found a vintage Polaroid camera and a note. Don't use this. Destroy it if you can. Bury it if you can't. Jake tried to destroy it. Hammer, fire, nothing worked. So he buried it in the woods behind campus, 6 feet deep, and tried to forget. But the camera doesn't stay buried. It finds its way back to flea markets, garage sales, antique shops. Always free. Always waiting. For the next person who thinks they can cheat death. For the next photographer who wants to freeze time. For the next soul willing to pay the price. Because death always collects. One way or another. The end. Marcus tried to save everyone. And paid the ultimate price. The camera is still out there. Still finding new victims. Welcome to Afterlogs, where every story reveals the darkness hiding in plain sight. Did this story make you question what you do with the power to see death coming? Subscribe for terrifying tales every week. Hit that bell icon. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Drop a comment. Would you use the camera to save someone? Or destroy it immediately? Tell us your choice. Share this with someone who needs a good scare. Remember, some gifts are too dangerous to accept, even when they're free. Stay safe out there, and never photograph what you're not ready to see. Afterlogs.